Hey bonsai enthusiasts, welcome back to another episode of Bonsai with Romano. Today we have an exclusive interview with Professor Jeremy Klassen, a leading expert in fertilizers, biostimulants and plant health. Ever wondered how biostimulants can take your bonsai care to the next level? Or why so many growers are shifting away from traditional fertilizers? Prof. Jeremy Klassen is here to break it all down. And here's the exciting part. What's still the end and stand a chance to win? We're giving away one 1 liter bottle of IBATECH biostimulants to one lucky viewer. To enter the lucky draw, just listen carefully because at the end of this video, I'll ask you a simple question about biostimulants application methods. So, drop the correct answer in the comment section below. This competition is only open to South African viewers. Sit back, relax, take notes, and let's dive into the fascinating discussion with Prof. Jeremy Klassen.
Okay, so basically there are three groups of fertilizers and biostimulants fit into one of those groups. So in South Africa, you're going to register your products according to any of the three groups. For example, group 1 is your synthetic or your inorganic fertilizers, and they must have a nitrogen, phosphorus and potassium content of at least or above 100 gram per kilogram. Then you have your group 2 fertilizers, and they should be at least be below, in terms of the NPKs, that is your nitrogen, phosphorus and potassium, they should be below 100 gram per kilogram content, and they can include organic fertilizers as well. Then you have your group 3 fertilizers, which involves your natural and your synthetic substances, and they will improve plant growth and also function as soil conditioners. So that is where you will find your biostimulants, in the group 3 fertilizers. Okay, so there is different categories of biostimulants. In the United States, they are more referring to the biofertilizers, but it's sort of similar categories. So for biostimulants, you have a non-microbial category and a microbial biostimulants. So your non-microbial biostimulants is, for example, your seaweed. It's a major group, like for example kelpec is a seaweed biostimulant. Then you have your plant extracts, which in our case, in the case of our product, it is a indigenous Kraubos plant. Then you have amino acids group, fulvic acid and humic acid. Then you have what they call plant growth promoting substances, or hormonal, that's actually hormone, such as auxins, and auxins is for example a major component in seaweed extracts. Then you have your microbial biostimulants. They then are your fungi, such as your mycorrhizal, your root promoting fungi or nutrient uptake fungi. You have your yeast, and then you have your bacterial microbes like the rhizobacteria for nitrogen fixation. In terms of the benefits, so your major benefits that a grower will like, or the farmer will like, is plant growth promotion, increase in plant growth, increase in your yield or your biomass, either depending on if it's grain yield or fruit yield. Then increase in the uptake of nitrogen is an important characteristic of some biostimulants. Increase in polyphenolics, flavonoid uptake, those are or increase in which is the antioxidants in your fruits. Increase in the Brix levels, that's what we call the sugar or the sweetness of your product, especially in tomatoes. That's a critical component there. So it will also protect your plants against stress factors like heat stress, cold stress and drought stress. And then the other one, disease resistance, so protecting the plants against insect and major disease pathogens. In the mid-1900s, we've looked at this indigenous plants, and we came up with the name of a project for our research, which is indigenous. So IBATECH basically stands for Indigenous Botanical Adjuvant Technologies. And so the main word is adjuvant, because what we found in this specific plant extract is that when we mix it with fungicides, then it increases the efficacy of the fungicide at a specific dosage when it's mixed with fungicide to kill the pathogen or the superbug. In the 2010s, we shifted our focus from that studies, because we then discover that the extract have a biostimulant effect on plants, meaning that it increases, for example, the chlorophyll levels in the plant, the nitrogen uptake of the plant, the polyphenolic flavonoid in the plant, and also provide more resistance to the plant against pathogens. In 2015 then we patented, or the University of the Western Cape then patented this technology. Currently my company, which is Kraalbos Biohealth Products, have now licensed this technology from the University of the Western Cape to commercialize. That means to access the market with it and to grow the market for the product. There is a push to reduce, for example, a traditional fertilizer like nitrogen, to reduce its application in agriculture. And the reason for that is because of its potential toxicity, the release of, for example, nitrogen oxide from the soil into the environment, and also the pollution, especially of your groundwater and your rivers. This reduction in nitrogen is now a challenge and a problem for your grower, because the impact of that on plant growth and plant health could be significant, or your yields could be significant. So what biostimulants then doing, and the research is that a lot of these biostimulants actually then increase or stimulate the plant to take up more nitrogen that is already available in the soil. And I think in that way, the biostimulants are now becoming increasingly very critical because of this push to reduce the application of nitrogen fertilizer in the environment. My experiences with our growers that use biostimulants, or where we, for example, have tested these biostimulants, is that they are quite knowledgeable and they have the experience to see and to understand when their plants perform better. So if they have a specific problem and you recommend a specific biostimulant, they apply it, and then they will, for example, in the next couple of days or within a week, they will be able to tell you, now my plant's showing improvement. I think it's that visual skills, that visual experience that they have to see when they do something different, that there is a better performance in the plants. They can visually observe that. And examples of that is they can see the plant is greener, so that means there is an increase in the photosynthesis of that plant. They can see when their fruits are larger, which is an indication that the biostimulant have an impact on the yield and growth increase of the plants. We have many of those examples where we have demonstrated the biostimulant on farms, and where the farmer actually, or the grower actually, indicated to us, but there is definitely a difference and just basically through visual observation. So they do have that skill to make those observations and to see those, if the biostimulant make a difference to their crops. Biostimulants are being categorized once again into, there's three types of application. There's a foliar type, that for foliar applications. There is biostimulants that are being developed as soil drenches, and then there is biostimulants that are being used specifically for seed treatment. The specific application depends on how the biostimulants are, what is the focus of the research and the development of the biostimulant. So your microbial biostimulants, for example, some of them will control diseases, and in those cases you will apply them to the leaves, so that will be foliar applications. When they have been tested specifically to improve the quality of the soil, or to improve soil health or soil microorganisms, then those kind of biostimulants will have a soil application. And then the similar for seed treatment. So in the case of IBATECH, we know that it is increased photosynthesis, it has increased uptake of nitrogen, and also increased the levels of flavonoid. And in those cases, therefore, we will then have actually registered the product as a foliar application. It doesn't say that it can't be used as a soil drench or seed treatment. It is just that it hasn't been tested, and there's no specific data for that. So we prefer then to promote it as a foliar application. I wouldn't say that biostimulant necessarily is risk-free. What is very critical when a grower decides to use biostimulants, it is to make sure product that they buy or that they obtain, that it is registered under Act 36 as a Group 3 fertilizer. So that means then when it's officially registered, there will be approved label by the registrar, and on that label will be a registration number. So in our case of IBATECH, we have the M49 number, which is an indication that it has been approved, and that was achieved in 2019. Then the next aspect on the label that you need to look at is the claims that are being made. So the claim will either be it increase the yield of specific crops, it increase biomass, it increase nitrogen uptake, it have some kind of a disease protection effect. So those things will be approved by the registrar according to the data that's being provided. Also, in terms of any negative impacts on the environment, on the plant, maybe the phytotoxicity effects, there in that case you must make sure, and to prevent that type of risk, you must make sure that you use the dosage that's being prescribed or recommended on the label, because this product would have been tested at different dosages, and the most perfect dosage will be written on the label or indicated on the label. There is biostimulant products that do claim that you can control diseases with it, that it protect your plant against diseases. So you will look for that kind of indicator in that kind of biostimulants if you want to control a specific pest or disease. Normally a grower will also, even if that claim isn't made for the product, a grower can normally make that observation, okay, when I use the specific biostimulant, I see less diseases, I see less pests, and in that way a grower will then continue to use that product for that reason. The major thing that one needs to look at to make that particular claim is the type of components in the product. If it's a plant extract, for example, or a seedweed extract, then you will check for flavonoid compounds, for example, because we know that flavonoids are basically the immune chemicals of the plant. It's the chemicals that will protect the plant against pathogens and insects. Those are also an indication of potential of a biostimulant to protect against diseases and insects. In the case of your traditional pesticide, there's a totally different way or mode of action and the way it works, because those products have been developed to what I would call to directly kill a pathogen. So you will have a specific concentration or a dosage of that product that you spray on the plant to kill the pathogen or the insect directly. And that's the difference between the two. So biostimulants more affecting the defense system and the immunity system, it triggers that system, while your traditional pesticides have a more direct killing effect on the organism. What I would say is that biostimulants is not necessarily, don't see it as a complete silver bullet. You as a grower still needs to ensure that your soil is healthy, and in terms of its nutrient availability in the soil, ensure that your nitrogen, phosphorus and potassium levels, for example, that those are at the right levels and available to the plant. It can either be through application of synthetic fertilizers, although you also want to make sure that your carbon levels is high enough through the application of your compost using animal manures or cover crops and green manure. In that way, you still need to ensure a balanced nutrient environment for the plant, and in that way you will increase the efficacy of the biostimulant as well. Globally, is that regulations being introduced to reduce the application of nitrogen, And that sort of, for me, creating a space for the biostimulants, especially those biostimulants where we can prove that it increases the uptake of nitrogen. So you have so the farmer can then be comfortable in reducing the application of nitrogen, but then have that safety net in applying a biostimulant. That plant will then be able to take up any of those nutrients and nitrogen that is available in the soil. There's also not only regulations about the reduction, there's also now more incentives, the application of biostimulants within those regulations. The government's also building incentives. And I've recently read, for example, that there is what they call a 12-liter purchase incentives for biostimulants in South Africa. That means you get type of a tax break if you buy 12 liters of a biostimulant. That kind of sort of regulations and incentives is busy happening around biostimulants. The thing about biostimulants currently, especially in South Africa, is that there is a lot of focus by the developers and the producers of these biostimulants on the big crops that will be more profitable for them to market and sell their products. And the whole focus then becomes on research and development of these biostimulant products on those crops. So even in the case of vegetables, these companies will go for the grains, the wheats and the barleys and the maize, because you can understand it's big markets for a biostimulant if you can get your biostimulant in there. So for me, in terms of bonsai growers, my approach will be they're the best people that, as you indicate, they understand what they need for growing, these the small trees. They understand the requirements for plant health. They understand the soil issues and how to build better soil. They understand the diseases that will occur. So taking that into all that knowledge that they have into consideration, what I would suggest is that your bonsai growers then also try to better understand how do these biostimulants work and how can it sort of help them and benefit to address those challenges. And I think that is the best way to pull, biostimulants into sort of the bonsai set, if you can call it, the industry. But as I've said, the problem is, I think the companies that produce the bio see it as a small market, and so the effort, as in the case of vegetables, for example, is to push it, the research and development around this biostimulant, that it's being pushed either by bonsai growers association or by individual bonsai, or that individual bonsai growers take up the challenges to test the products on their trees, and then in that way educate your bonsai growers around that. From IBATECH side, we now will increasingly use, for example, our social media platforms, the IBATECH South Africa platform on LinkedIn and Facebook, to also promote and educate more around the benefits of biostimulants, the different types of biostimulants, where it can be used, and I think in that way also take them care of the smaller markets for the biostimulants.
That was an incredible deep dive into biostimulants and fertilizers with Professor Jeremy Klassen. I hope you found this as eye-opening as I did. Now, it's time for the lucky draw. If you've been paying attention, you'll know the answer to this question. What are the 3 methods for applying biostimulants to your plants? Drop your answer in the comments below and I'll add your name to a lucky draw. All the correct answers will go into a list and I will announce the winner in my next video. Remember, this giveaway is open to South African residents only, and the prize is a 1-liter bottle of IBATECH Biostimulants, a game changer for your bonsai. Don't forget to like, subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss the winner announcement in my next video.